And it looks like we're live. Thank you guys for coming. I usually do this on my podcast channel, not on my main channel, but I figured I'd give you guys a taste of what kinds of things I do on the podcast so you guys can kind of get a feel for, for how the podcast works, because I know a lot of you guys don't actually know about the podcast. So anyway, figured I'd advertise it here a little bit, show you what it's all about. So as you guys can see, I have what's called the Keep Yourselves in God's Love book up here. And I've kind of been going through this on my main channel, going through various articles and things like that, because honestly, it's a treasure trove of information. Just every weird, quirky little belief about Jehovah's Witnesses you could ever hope for. Now, for those of you who don't watch my podcast usually, you will not know this, but we discovered on there that tables of contents were not invented until like the 1980s, because I also have here the Book of Mormon's secret instruction manual for elders and stuff from 1899. So I actually have the books from 1899 all the way to present, I believe. I found this archive online that has like 1899, 1901, 1903, all the way through 1960. I have 1998 here, so really interesting stuff. But unfortunately, it's kind of hard to read, honestly. I mean, as you guys can see here, it's pretty scratchy. I don't know what kind of quality you can see on the live stream. I don't know if you'll be able to read it or not, but yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. So this one, like I said, is from 1899, and it's kind of short. It looks like it's only, like 14 pages long, right? So I guess we can kind of take this as what the Mormon Church viewed to be important in 1899. The most important information that they had to disseminate to their elders in 1899. So let's see. As I said, there's no table of contents because those had not been invented yet, apparently. So let's see. This is chapter 1. Dear brethren, 1. In view of the importance of the subject of tithing and its bearing on the welfare of the Latter-day Saints, we direct the attention of those who have charge of tithing affairs in the several wards and stakes of Zion, I think it says. It's hard to read. To this subject, and issue the following instructions concerning the receiving and dispersing of the tithes. Okay. So very first page, very first chapter, first sentence is about tithing. That's interesting. I guess that's the most important thing to him. There is nothing else in this book. It is completely about collecting tithes and how to collect them and just all this ridiculous stuff. Okay, so this is page, what page is this? It's probably page 7 or 8, somewhere in there. We have this day forwarded to the stake tithing clerk the following blanks for the annual statement. It's all about tithing, the entire thing. Ward balance sheet. This blank gives a wait a minute, what's this word? Recapitulation. God, I couldn't read it for a minute there. This blank gives a recapitulation of the accounts current in a condensed form. Where there is, I can't read that word. It's kind of cut off. Where there is an underpaid balance due on presiding bishop's office orders. So some of these books that I have here, let's do this. Let's pull a book up from 1944. Okay. So this is the secret book from 1944. Nobody's supposed to ever see this except for Mormon higher-ups, right? For stake presidents and counselors, bishops and counselors, stake and ward clerks, and other church officers. This is not for other eyes. Now, as I'm sure you all can guess, this is kind of dry information, some of it, but they didn't want us to see it. And I feel like that makes it important enough to want to see. When a government or a religion or some massive organization like this has something to hide, I want to know what it is, usually. So we've got a whole bit in this one. So this is 1944, remember. So around that time, we had World War II going on. I think early 1944, World War II was in full swing. And so this was all happening in Utah, in the U.S., and they're talking about civil marriages in this book and things like that. Tithing, of course. Once again, we're back to tithing. How does it keep coming back to tithing? Oh, my God. Okay, so this is about the ward budget. Excuse me. Kind of interesting stuff. So, yeah, these books have been an endless amount of really interesting information for me. I don't know if it's super interesting to you guys, but it's just endlessly fascinating to me, really. I mean, just think about this. This is information that almost just such a small segment of the population will ever see because they hit it so thoroughly. And it's not just the Mormons either. I've got the secret handwritings from L. Ron Hubbard. Tried to go through those last week, but his handwriting is just chicken scratch. It's so bad. But yeah, so apparently with Scientology, what happens is they have what they call a bridge. And once you go through the process of I guess you'd call it upgrading your membership. You have to pay this massive amount of money to get to this point. They say like $100,000, I think, is what it costs to go clear. And then it costs $300,000 total to get to the level called OT3. And OT3 is at that level, they give you a briefcase with handwritings from L. Ron Hubbard. So here's the bottom line with Scientology. This is kind of how it operates, right? So you will talk to somebody and they'll get you into these what they call auditing sessions, which is basically where they want you to kind of go through your life, just talk about traumatic experiences that have happened to you. And you'll hold on to these things they call cans that are hooked up to an e-meter. And it's basically just it detects the electricity flowing through your body pretty much. So when you sweat, when you get stressed or anxious, your fingertips sweat more. And that increases or decreases the electrical resistance in your skin. And it makes this little needle on this e-meter wave back and forth. So if you're getting stressed, then the needle on this e-meter is waving back and forth, back and forth. And so they know, now we know they're stressed about this subject that they're talking about, so we need to go into more detail with it. We need to know what's going on with it. So they'll ask more questions. They'll say, tell me about that. Expand on what you're thinking right now. Tell me more about what's happening in your mind. And so the people go into detail. They'll say, I see a barn or something. And they'll say, okay, well, open the barn door. What do you see? And the person will say, I see 17th century France. And they'll say, well, it sounds like you were a 17th century Frenchman, and they'll make them think that this is a real memory, that it's not just their imagination running wild. They will actually implant false memories in them, right? So that's how Scientology works in audits. Well, when L. Ron Hubbard was coming up with this philosophy, this ideology, this religion, he did his own auditing sessions where he kind of planted false memories in his own mind. And so when you reach OT3, that level where they give you the briefcase after $300,000, so the writings that L. Ron Hubbard wrote down and put in these briefcases, they talk about his memories. right? So that's where you get this whole Xenu story. He talks a lot about, he tells a full-blown story. It could have been a science fiction novel, but it really exposed his own fears, because in the story he talks about, I don't know if you guys have ever seen South Park, but South Park actually does a really good synopsis of this Xenu story that you find in this briefcase. So it talks about how Xenu called people in. He ruled over this planet, and he calls the population in under the guise of paying their taxes. So, right there, you can tell the dude was just horrified of paying taxes. In fact, he went on the run to avoid paying taxes at one point. So, anyway, so the story they tell is when the people arrive to pay their taxes, they put them to sleep, and they put them on these planes that look a lot like planes we had in the 1950s. That's how he described it. Flew them to Earth, dropped their bodies into volcanoes, and dropped a bunch of, I think, atom bombs or maybe hydrogen bombs on the volcanoes just to completely obliterate the bodies. And now the souls of those people are roaming around the Earth freely. And every time a baby is born, these souls that were killed in the volcanoes or whatever, they're called thetans. So every time a baby's born, the thetans invade this baby's body, like thousands of them, try to take it over, try to commandeer it. So when you're going clear, when you're trying to reach that level, your goal is to deal with past traumas in your life, right? In all of your past lives, in fact. And when you're trying to, once you get to OT3, every step past that is trying to exorcise these thetans, trying to get them out of your body. Now, once you manage to do that, supposedly you're this superhuman. Supposedly you're superhuman after going clear. You're supposed to be able to control matter with your mind and all of this other ridiculous stuff. But it's a really fascinating story to read, especially in his handwriting like that. It's photocopied, of course, but it's so fascinating. I really wish that I could read his handwriting. It's really, really difficult to get through. But anyway, so yeah, on the podcast, that's kind of what I've been doing lately is, going through all of these secret writings that religions aren't supposed to show to anybody. Thanks to WikiLeaks and a combination of other groups, we have access to them. So no matter how dry or boring they may seem to me, I still want to read them. I still feel like it's my duty, in the fight against these religions, to know what they say in them. By the way, 6-Bit, are you there? Do you have any questions for me by chance?
I do, sorry.
No
I have
problem.
a few. From the Discord server, we have one from Tan. They're asking, does Telltale like storms?
Do I like storms?
Yes.
I do, actually. When I was little, I actually had a cat that was absolutely horrified of them, and I thought that was like instinct. I thought that cats were just generally, naturally afraid of like lightning and stuff like that, but the cat I have now is not afraid of them, really. Kind of strange. But yeah, I do. I love snow. I love storms. I love odd weather events. It's pretty awesome stuff, so yes.
Cool beans. Next question is from YouTube, and that's from I Love PokeTip. Introvert or extrovert?
I think it depends on the situation. I think that I am generally introverted when it starts out. Like if I find myself in a situation where there are people around that I don't really know that well, I just completely shut down. I'm quiet and I sit in the corner and I just leave me alone. I'd rather be left alone. I think that's part of the result of I don't know, I guess you'd say a result of the isolation that I experienced as a Jehovah's Witness when I was younger. I don't really feel comfortable around people at all. But once I kind of befriend one or two people, I'm a little bit more comfortable. I open up and then I start saying stupid stuff and joking around like a fool, you know. So anyways, yeah, I guess it's a little bit of both, I'd say.
So you're your usual self. I understand it.
Yeah.
Third question is from the psychologist doctor on our Discord server. He says, why are there, well, either one, my bad. Why are there so many types of Christianity?
Why are there so many types of Christianity? Actually, that's an interesting question because when you think about it, okay, here's the thing. A lot of the time I hear people arguing, is Islam a cult? They think that Islam is a cult, right? I hear people arguing that it is. And generally, I wouldn't call Christianity a cult. I wouldn't call Buddhism a cult. I'd have to get more specific than that before I was comfortable calling anything a cult. I would call Jehovah's Witnesses a cult. That's a branch of Christianity. I'd call Mormonism a cult. I don't think I'd call Islam a cult. I would call Wahhabi Islam a cult. So yeah, like I was saying, as you can see, there are a lot less branches of Islam, or apparently there are a lot less branches of Islam. It's a lot more uniform and unified than Christianity appears to be. Like in Christianity, we have these groups of people who claim to be Christian, or I guess that makes them Christian, who believe that they're going to be taken away by a UFO. If they commit suicide, then a UFO following this comet is going to pick up their souls on the way through, and they have like $1.20 in their pocket for space fare. I mean, that's crazy. And they roped in a lot of people. So why don't you see that kind of split off, that branching in Islam as much? You do see it sometimes, but I think it's due in part because Christianity. So when the U.S. was kind of formed in the early days, in the 15, 16, 1700s, 1800s, it was based on religious freedom. Of course, this is complete speculation, so it's just my guess based on what I know of religion and the research that I've done and things. I think it's partly due to how free America was with religion. Anybody could believe anything, and they weren't persecuted. Well, they may have been persecuted, but they weren't prosecuted. They were not charged with a crime for it in the U.S. So I think we see so many branches of Christianity now because religion was so free when the U.S. was forming. And now those branches, a lot of the times, have spread out to other countries. But anyway, do you have another question for me? I'll probably take one more, and then I'll continue on.
Sure do. I've got 4 that are really great.
Okay.
Right now, we're going to go with trans plus gay equals me, a member from the Discord server. What are Jehovah's Witnesses' views on transgender?
If you're trans and Jehovah's Witness, then they will tell you to stop it. Of course, everybody on YouTube or everybody who watches my channel knows that I stand for gay rights and trans rights and all of that stuff because I didn't when I was Jehovah's Witness, because I thought it was wrong then. And now I realize it's not. So I do everything I can to support that group of people. I have known some trans people and even some gay people who have just been told to stop. They've been told, if you don't stop what you're doing, then you're going to be disfellowshipped and you'll lose your family and your friends and everything you own, basically. So they don't think highly of it, which is honestly very heartbreaking. It's really sad. So we're fighting and we will make it. Just take some time. Anyway, you know what? I'll go ahead and take some more. Do you have another?
I do. I've got one from Scout class. This isn't really a question. It's just, Telltale, thank you for inspiring me to break away from my church. And that's from YouTube.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad I could do some good. That's my goal. So even if I help one or two people come out, then I've accomplished my mission as far as I'm concerned. So.
And the next question is from our helper Baphomet. She says, do you think parents who raise children into cults should be considered abusive?
That's a tough question. That's actually a really good question. I think I've had that at one point, like on my podcast. I don't even remember how. It's been forever. But here are my thoughts on it. There is a line. Okay, so there's a lot of gray area, but there is a line somewhere in there that turns it from religious freedom to child abuse. We have to find that line. I don't know where it is exactly, but I'll tell you this. Spanking your kid for religious reasons is over the line. That is child abuse. There's nothing in this world that should justify hitting your kid for religious reasons. I mean, for being gay or for just not listening at church or something. It's just, I don't know, but we have to find it. We have to find the line. And I would be all for a crackdown on that. So, obviously, anybody who watches my channel knows I stand for freedom of religion. Absolutely. But I think, so I would not, right now, Jehovah's Witnesses are in a bad spot in Russia because they're kind of being persecuted and prosecuted. They have been banned in Russia for being an extremist organization and spreading propaganda in the form of the Watchtower. And that's true. They are. They're an extremist organization. But look at what's happening as a result of banning them. There's a swell of support for religious freedom all over the world. They're calling it a human rights violation and everything else. Because it kind of is. You can't be told what to believe and what not to believe. That is wrong. So instead of sending the government in to raid their kingdom halls or something, I think Russia would be in a better spot press-wise or PR-wise if they just fined them for every instance of extremist behavior. So every time they tell a mother to shun their son or their daughter, every time they separate families, every time there's a neglect or abuse case of any kind, they get fined for that. I don't want to see the Watchtower Society crumble physically. I would think that I don't stand for violence in any way. I would like to see them crumble financially, and we do see that. As I mentioned in the video I released, I think on Thursday, the Jehovah's Witnesses crooked finances. We can see them crumbling financially, but my biggest qualm with that right now is the fact that the U.S. government is still endorsing that religion, even though they are covering up pedophilia cases. The U.S. government and other governments are still endorsing and supporting and propping up that religion in the form of tax exemption, if nothing else, and in the form of not fining them out of existence. That's what we need to do. I think that's the answer. Do you have one more question for me, and then I'll go to guests?
I sure do. Let's take a look here. You've got so many good ones, and I'm honestly just going to make a list of everything.
Okay.
Here's one from Rat Lab. What would you say is the most dangerous cult for children?
The most dangerous cult for children. That's interesting. See, this is what happens when I answer questions like this. I get off on a tangent or a story or something, and then I forget the original question, kind of lose my train of thought, but I'll try to stick to it this time. So, what's the most dangerous religion for children? before I go into details about why, I'm just gonna say which one. I think I'm gonna say Scientology. Yeah, I'm gonna say Scientology. And here's why. Well, you know what? No. Okay, let me just back off on that. Actually, I'm gonna say the 12 Tribes cult. I'm sorry, my mistake. So generally, I say Scientology is the most destructive cult, generally, because they have the most influence. So they have the most influence to the most destructive behavior ratio. There's a ratio there. So if there's a group of people, say 40 people big, and they're really, really abusive, and they do some really horrific stuff, that is very destructive, obviously, hands down. But they don't have much influence. They're just living on a compound on their own, and they're not bringing in new members, really, right? So Scientology, they have, I don't even know. I think estimates said around 40,000, 30,000 members, but they keep their member rolls private, and then they say they have millions. There's absolutely no way they have millions of members. Absolutely no way. So, so I'd say membership and money and destructive behavior play into making Scientology the most harmful generally. And then the 12 Tribes cult believe they have to have 144,000 children who are so pure that they can breathe fire before the end of the world comes. So they have this whole training manual that's all about beating your kid and keeping him separate from other kids. And it's just really, really horrific and sad. Then there's also the Children of God. I forgot about that one. That one's extremely harmful to children. It's basically written into their doctrine that you're supposed to sexually abuse children. They officially changed that stance, but I actually know ex-Children of God members who have been in the religion even recently, in the past 10 years or so, and it has not changed. The culture has not changed. It's crooked, it's disgusting, it's heartbreaking, it's sad. We have to do something about it. So, anyway, all right. Do you have one more? That didn't actually take me as long as I thought. Then I'll take guests.
Sure. From Sad Melody, thoughts on the movements trying to bring back pre-Christian European religion?
Okay, can you say it one more time?
Yes, they're asking, what are your thoughts on the movements trying to bring back pre-Christian European religion?
Okay, all right. So pre-Christian European religions. I don't actually know a whole lot about that grouping of religions, so I'm kind of hesitant to talk about it. Pre-Christian. Okay, so pre-Christian European religions. I guess that'd be something like paganism. Are we talking like oh shoot, I can't think of any of the names of them now, but we are talking paganism here, right? Is that where we're at?
As far as I understand it, yes. So, maybe Druidism, Nordic religions,
right,
things like
okay.
that.
So, I would say, like, Wicca has kind of been, I think Wicca was created in, like, the 1950s, 1960s or something like that. So there is a little bit of a push to bring that stuff back. Generally, I don't really care as long as it isn't harmful and destructive and extremist. Now, basically every religion has destructive elements or destructive people in it. I can't think of a single religion that doesn't have some harmful aspect to it. It's almost by definition. At the very least, just believing something that is untrue is harmful in itself, right? And then, of course, you've got the people who are fanatics. Like, you've always got fanatic something. You got fanatic Methodists. You've got fanatic Baptists. And there's every branch of Christianity and every religion has a fanatic in it, right? Even if it doesn't breed fanaticism by default. So, I don't know. Maybe those people would be fanatics anyways, just in life. Maybe that's just their personality. but the religion is what it took to bring it out. I don't know. But yeah, generally I just say ditch religion. This is just me. I know I have Christian subscribers and stuff, and that's fine for you. But for me, I just say ditch it. Just throw it out. No need for it. So anyway, yeah. Thanks for reading those questions. I may end up getting back to questions later before the stream ends. We shall see. But for the moment, I'm going to start taking guests. And by the way, one more note before I start taking guests. I wanted to mention that I do this podcast every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys want to get on my Discord, because that's how I do it on Discord in a voice channel. So if you just download Discord, join my server, and then join the voice chat, then you can actually just be in there with me and listen to me while I go through it. And you can also sign up to be on the Discord. There's a link that I'll put in the description of this video if you want to be on here. So okay, so the first person I wanted to speak with, so this is a list of people I'm looking at here, and it's alphabetical order, and I'm looking for the ends. There it is. Nile Attack, are you there?
Hello?
I have not talked to you on the podcast before, have I?
No, I've talked twice on here.
Okay, well, but you are you're a staff member of mine, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you work for the Discord. I was actually pretty surprised by how involved and complicated it is to run a Discord server as it grows. Holy shit. Oh, now I'm going to get demonetized for saying shit. Oh, well.
Uh-oh. Oh, shit.
Oh, no. Oh, shit. But anyway, so yeah, what religion did you grow up as? I may know some of these questions, but I figure I'll ask anyways for the audience.
Yeah, my parents are both atheists, but I grew up a lot with my grandparents on my mom's side, who took me to church a lot up until I was about 6 years old. And I told you why I stopped going the first time I spoke on here was because they basically told me dinosaurs are a myth.
Right.
So I was like, I'm not going back anymore. But I didn't stop believing until I was maybe 13 or 14, because I started dating my first boyfriend. And he was an atheist, but his family was very, very Christian. And his dad hated me simply because, I kind of believed in God, but I didn't really, pray all that often. I didn't really read the Bible, and he hated that.
Right.
And so that's when I kind of started to stray away from religion, and now I'm agnostic.
Very interesting. So tell me then, how do your parents feel about it? Were they kind of upset about that, or what happened?
Me going to church, or
no, you kind of straying away from it, being agnostic or whatever?
My parents didn't care. I don't think my grandparents really care all that much either. They're not crazy Christians like my ex's family were.
Well, good. I mean, that's good to hear. That's really interesting. So you've been kind of agnostic or atheist or whatever for you said since 14, right? Or 15?
About 14.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm 20 now, so.
So what drew you to this kind of corner of YouTube?
Honestly, it just sort of happened randomly. I think one night I had just overworked myself, so I just spent the rest of the night on YouTube watching videos, and one of your videos kept popping up in my recommended for almost no reason. It was a Caleb and Sophia video, and I was like, okay, this the thumbnail was a picture from the animation. I was like, wow, that looks awful. I want to see this. And that's when I clicked on the video, and I just kind of went down the rabbit hole of your channel.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
And I started learning a lot from there.
Yeah, it's those older Caleb and Sophia videos that I did back in the day. Those were I can't go back and listen to those now because I had a different microphone at the time, and it just sounds so bad to me. It's so cringy. I've thought about like going back and kind of re-scripting it and re-recording and putting out like just a brand new updated version of it for a newer audience because it really sucked back then. So I don't know, but maybe I'll do that. We'll see. But yeah,
That'd be a cool idea.
so that's pretty cool. So let me ask you this then, on an unrelated note.
Mm-hmm.
Give me what do you think are the best and the worst parts about trying to run a Discord like this? Like, what's your favorite part of the whole thing about being on like a bigger Discord and trying to help manage it and stuff?
I think it's talking to people, because I talk to new people all the time. It's honestly helping me learn to be more social, because I have a really bad anxiety disorder, especially when it comes to being out in public. Like, there are times where if I'm in a mall or something and it's too crowded, I will just like shut down. I'll get put in a bad mood until I go home. But like talking to people on here has actually been super helpful for me. So I think that's my favorite part of it. The worst, I would probably have to say, is like when somebody decides to just not listen to staff and I have to end up dealing with it for like an hour.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean there. I think that like a lot of the time on Discord you'll find, well, not a lot of the time, but sometimes you'll find like dramatic elements to it. Like you'll find people who are being overly dramatic about some things, and you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
And you have to talk to them and calm them down and stuff like that. So that's been a little bit of a struggle trying to retrofit my personality to work better with dealing closely with people. I think probably has been my biggest challenge with it, but one day at a time, we'll learn it. I like Discord pretty well. It's a really nice platform. I'm surprised. Like, I did not expect it to be so versatile and powerful. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Pretty cool.
I've been using it since like last year, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I've only been using it since January. I think I started my Discord on like January 16th or something like that. And yeah, this is the first Discord I ever started or joined or anything. So it's been pretty cool though. But anyway, yeah, I appreciate you coming on and talking to me. Maybe we'll talk again. We'll probably talk again in on the server.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to maybe ask for advice, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
About something religion related.
Okay.
So, my boyfriend is coming to visit me soon, very soon, which I'm very excited about. And then I'm aiming to visit him and his family at the end of the year. And I'm not so excited about that. I'm excited to see him, but I'm nervous about seeing his family because they're Catholic. Like everyone in his family is Catholic except for him. He's an atheist. The only one in his family that knows I'm agnostic is his stepdad, and he's okay with it. It's just that he's not sure how his mom is going to take it. He's not sure how to tell her that I'm agnostic or that he's atheist. And
oh, he's atheist too, or is he atheist?
No. His stepdad is Catholic, but he's okay with me being agnostic and my boyfriend being atheist.
Okay, got you.
But nobody else in his family really knows. And I was like, oh, I'm sure they'll be okay with it. But recently, one of my boyfriend's cousins got married, and his family was kind of upset because it wasn't held in a church. And so I was like, really? They're upset about that? And he's like, yeah. So I don't know how to approach something like that when I do go visit them.
Right, that's rough. Okay, so I'm wondering if you know how they would feel about it if you were Methodist instead of atheist. Do you know if they'd be like really upset about it, or?
I don't know. His younger sister's boyfriend is. I said at one point that he was Jehovah's Witness, but I was wrong. He's a Mormon.
Oh, okay.
But his family seems to be pretty okay with it. My boyfriend's family seems to be pretty okay with it. They don't really shun people as far as I know. So I don't know if they're open to other religions aside from that.
Right. Well, what I was thinking was, you mentioned something about everything has to be in a Catholic way, like Catholic mass and Catholic wedding and all that other good stuff, right?
Yeah, because my issue is I'm not religious, neither is my boyfriend,
Right.
and I don't want to, if he and I end up getting married in like a few years, I want it to be for us and not for his family. I don't want it to be super traditional to please them. I want it to make me and him happy, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely know where you're coming from with that. And that's what it should be about. That's what a wedding should be about, is about you and him, right? But sometimes family is just ruthless about wanting their way with things. Unfortunately, I can't offer much advice on that. That's going to be a tough situation, yeah. But I hope that you get it worked out. And honestly, I think that it's hard to find that balance between, making them happy and keeping them appeased and then making yourself happy. But I always lean on the side of living your own life, making your own family happy, not somebody else, right? You shouldn't have to do things to appease people like that. So I'd say if it was me, I don't know the situation at all, but if it was me, I'd say just do what you want to do and they can go stick it. But
not worry too much about it.
No, that's just me. But anyway, yeah, thanks for coming on. I'm sorry I couldn't offer better advice than that, but I'll talk to you later,
worries.
Okay?
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay, yeah, that's pretty interesting. I've only been to like a few weddings in my time. Like, I really have not been to as many as you'd think. I went to my sister's wedding when I was probably 7 or 8, maybe.
You were 8 years old, and you were my ring bearer.
Yeah, that's my sister, by the way, everybody. Yeah, I was the ring bearer. I was 8. Usually people have dogs do the ring bearer thing, but I got to this time. I was pretty proud of that. Also, I went to my brother's wedding, my first brother. Well, the brother that is next in line, just older than me. I went to his, and I think I was probably 13. And then recently I went to my oldest brother's wedding. That was last year around this time. It was October. So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of experience with weddings, and I definitely don't have experience with worldly weddings. Of the 3 weddings I remember ever going to, 2 of them were Jehovah's Witness style. So, anyways, yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to the next guest, and I'm just checking. I think that was C. Like I said a minute ago, this list is in alphabetical order, and I'm not fantastic with letters yet, so still learning. Kylie's teaching me. Are you there, C?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. So we haven't spoken on here before, have we?
No, we haven't.
Okay,
We've spoken in chat before, like
right.
Verbally.
So tell me, what religion were you originally? Are you still religious?
Never on the podcast yet.
Right. Okay. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So what religion were you? Are you still religious or?
Yes, I am Christian.
Oh, you are currently. Okay. What denomination of Christian?
Technically, well, I'm Protestant, but like I go to the United Church of Canada, which kind of identifies as its own thing.
Okay, interesting. So it's like it's its own denomination, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, they accept LGBT people, and they also don't take the Bible too literally in a lot of places.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's really good. I mean, as long as they're being accepting and things like that, right? I'm actually looking at their Wikipedia page right now on the live stream, so that's pretty cool. Ontario and Quebec. Oh, I hear children.
Oh, yeah, I'm at Canada's Wonderland right now.
Oh, that sounds cool. How is it?
It's good. I'm in your time zone.
Right? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm in Eastern time. So tell me, like, what do you think it would take? Now, you know me. I'm not trying to pull you out of religion, but what would it take for you to kind of start doubting that Christianity was true?
Well, for me, I don't know. The thing is, a few years ago, I had my little chain. Trying to explain my little figuring out what I believed and what I thought and all that kind
Right.
of stuff. So it would be really hard for me to stop like believing, because it's been so much a part of who I am and stuff.
Sure.
Like I grew up in a home where my mother was she's narcissistic, and for me, religion was one of the things that I always felt like I had control over in my life. So
Sure.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand what you're getting at.
My family stopped going to church when I was about 7, and I'm the one who begged my parents to go back to church, and we started going back when I was about 12. So
that's interesting. So you ended up going back when you were 12.
Kind of embedded in me, I guess.
Yeah. So do your parents
each
like?
to their own.
Do your parents not
It
really?
would be really hard for me not to be.
Can you hear me? Are you there? Can you hear me?
Still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes. Are you there? Did I lose you? I think I may have lost her. Okay, that's fine. We'll come back to see in a little bit. That's too bad. We'll come back to her. There was another person I wanted to speak with. Actually, before I speak with the next person, I just wanted to make note of something. I've been talking to some friends, like some bigger YouTubers, and they were talking about what's the word I'm looking for? Sponsorships and things like that. And I actually came across some sponsorships and stuff, but I don't think I'm going to do any of that right now. Maybe if I'm kind of backed into a corner and I don't really have an option, then I will. But, you know, I was looking through like these sponsorships and stuff, and I happened to find like a blanket that wanted me to advertise on my channel for them. And I was trying to think to myself, how could I possibly work in an ad for a blanket in my, in my audience, in my videos? Like, that's kind of amusing. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, I'm just steering clear of those for the moment until I absolutely have to. I don't know. Maybe when the podcast gets a lot bigger, I'll start putting like some ads in it. Who knows? But anyway. Yeah, I was going to say that C, the person I just spoke with, and Nile Attack and some others, I kind of consider them, they are my sponsors. They are supporters of mine. They support me on Patreon, and they help me out, and they're really good to me, and they really help me. So they get bumped to the top of the list by default. So I appreciate all that you guys do for me. I really have to thank you for that. So the next guest I wanted to speak to was, wait a minute. Let me see if he's here in the list. It's in the B's. Ben. Yes. Are you there? Can you hear me? Testing. 1, 2, 3. No. Your name is lit up, but I don't hear you. Huh, that's strange. Okay, I'll come back to you. Give it just a little bit, and I'll come back. All right, let me try C again. See how she's doing. Man, I am so bad at navigating my letters like this. I really need to work on my letters. Are you there, C? Are you still on Discord? No?
She was having headphone problems.
Oh, sadness. Okay, that's fine. I'll just go on to the next person then, which would be Squinny. Hang on, Squinny. Let me find the S's again. Those damn letters. Okay, I will find. There it is. Can you hear me, Squinty?
I can hear you. Hi. I can hear you. I have a slight issue where my mom just came back and she opened up both of the doors leading back to my
Okay.
bedroom, so unfortunately I cannot talk tonight.
Okay, that's fine. You're still on the list. We'll talk next time, okay?
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, I actually happen to deal with that kind of thing a lot because obviously my channel focuses on people who have had a really rough past or are in the process of dealing with a lot of rough stuff in their lives, hiding their lack of religion or their disbelief in Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormonism from their family. And so anyways, that happens a lot, but it's fine. We'll move on to the next person and get her next time. So let's see if Ben is back. Are you there, Ben? Testing? I unmuted you, unserver muted you, but it says you're still muted. Hey,
Ben is having connection issues. He just said in the chat that he's going to disconnect and reconnect.
Okay, no problem. The next person on the list is, wait a minute, Rat Lab. R's, R for Rat Lab. Are you there? Rat Lab?
Yeah. Just hang on a second. I need you to do something.
Okay. Hanging. Meanwhile, hey 6-Bit, actually, do you have any more questions for me? I'll come back to Rat Lab in a second. Just give me 1 second, Rat Lab. Do you have questions for me? I'll answer one.
I sure do. We have an interesting one from Totally Not Jeff on the YouTube side. He asks, do you think the world would be better if Christianity never existed?
Do I think it'd be better if Christianity never existed? I would say yes, I do. Because, see, here's the real problem with it. A lot of the time people think that Christianity is the reason why we have our morals. Christianity is the reason why we don't kill or don't steal or don't perjure or whatever, don't lie, whatever. I completely, fundamentally disagree with that. We had laws against killing or stealing or lying long before Christianity came along. So I think that Christianity overall has done some good in some cases. And it's a good force in some people's lives, but honestly, I think that we would persevere, we'd push through, and we'd find other sources for that good in our lives if Christianity didn't exist or never existed. So my answer to that would be yes. Okay, I'm going to unmute Rat Lab. Are you there?
Yeah, I am. There's no obnoxious background noise, right?
No, doesn't sound like it to me. I don't hear an echo or anything, so we're in good shape.
Right. Good, thanks.
So I get in the voice chat every now and then with you and Baphomet, and I chit chat while listening to stories and things like that, right? So we have talked before, but
yes.
But I don't think we've talked on the podcast. So just gonna ask you a couple of questions. So, what religion did you come from originally? Are you still religious or?
No, I am not religious. I came from it's a Pentecostal cult in Brazil.
Really, a Pentecostal cult? Is it
Yes.
is it a special denomination that isn't like super common, or?
I'm not particularly sure, mostly because I never have been exposed to anything aside from it. It's quite different from what you described when you made a video on it. So I think it might have been a more fringe
Totally
type of-
different,
It's really
right.
big on Brazil, however. It's really big on Brazil.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I have met some Pentecostals, a number of Pentecostals, and things like that. And to me, it seems like the focus a lot of the time in that religion is like just getting completely worked up with awe and just completely inspired and singing and just getting the swell in your chest of, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Did you experience
what I
any of
mean.
that or?
Here's the thing. That is one of the reasons why I became an atheist. Everyone was just going absolutely apeshit around me, and I just never felt anything.
Mm.
I was just
Really?
like this small kid, just sitting in the corner, and everyone was just crazy dancing. None of the children actually had any of that. So that's one of the reasons why I started thinking it's nonsense, because no one, except the people who have been exposed to it for a really long time, seemed to react to any of it. I just got uncomfortable when people started going crazy around me.
Right. That's so interesting. So you did have a lot of that kind of thing in it, in yours then.
Yes.
Yeah. Well.
Yes, it wasn't. It was actually a bit more tame than some of the others. I went to one church that was also Pentecostal, but it wasn't mine, and they were actually far more active in that kind of stuff than I was. Like the pastor didn't came down and just started like booping people on the head and just throwing them on the ground. Like they didn't do that, but there was
Okay.
still a lot of singing, a lot of stomping and stuff.
Right. So that's called being slain in the spirit. So they didn't do any of that stuff.
No. When
That's
there was a
interesting.
guest, sometimes it happens, but
Mm.
not the head guy there.
Okay. So you got to see it. It just wasn't like super common.
Yes,
I guess.
it was
Okay.
very common.
Yeah, in the U.S., sometimes you get really fringe extremist like branches of Pentecostalism. I'm not going to say that this is common at all in any stretch, but it does happen. And in fact, in my state of West Virginia, that it's one of the only states, I think the only state where this is legal, where it's legal to do snake handling. So they'll.
Yes,
I
there
don't
was
really
some
know
snake
much about it.
handling in some parts.
Did you see some of it?
I saw in another church that I went to, because my mother, she left the church I actually came from. She was actually kind of atheist for a while, but she then came back to the religion after her divorce. So she was just going from church to church looking for this. And in one church, I saw a guy handling a snake. They didn't drink any of it, but it was still, pretty fucking weird.
Right? Yeah. I hear that. They actually what is
really
it?
strange stuff. They started like looking in the eyes of the snake, and they started shouting and stuff. It was really uncomfortable.
Honestly, as uncomfortable and odd as that is, I would love to see it. I don't know. I guess I don't have to see it in person, but I'd love to see it in a video or something. Maybe I can find one of those.
Yeah. As a child, it's quite unnerving to see something like that, but looking back, it's mostly amusing.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. They also do something called oh shoot, what's it called? I'm trying to think of the name of it. Where they take venom and so they drink venom, or they inject themselves with venom to build up their like their immunity to it and stuff. They still do a lot of that stuff. It's so freaking crazy, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, I'm glad you found your way out, and I appreciate you coming on and talking to me, and I'm sure we'll talk in voice chat another one of these nights, right?
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, later. Yeah, that's so crazy. But something I wanted to mention about that is so let's just look at the Bible verse. I think it's Mark chapter 16. Okay, so we've got okay, here we go. So the last 8 verses. This is the last chapter in Mark. It's Mark 16. And this is the last 8 verses. Or I'm sorry, no, it's 9 through 19, so it's the last 10 verses. I'm not going to read them all here, but as you can see, it says here, the earliest manuscripts and some other ancient witnesses do not have verses 9 through 20. These verses here are known forgeries. They are fakes. They were written by monks hundreds of years after Mark was originally written. It's just complete BS. And interestingly enough, this is the section of the Bible where the Pentecostals get that whole snake handling bit and the whole poison ingestion thing and speaking in tongues. So let's just give this bit a read here. It says, let me make sure I'm reading at the right spot. Okay. He said to them, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned. And these signs will accompany those who believe. In my name they will drive out demons," exorcism. They will speak in new tongues. They will pick up snakes with their hands, and they will drink deadly poison. It will not hurt them at all. They will place their hands on sick people, and they will get well. Does that sound familiar? Faith healers? Snake handlers? I don't remember the name for the poison drinkers, but it's close enough. Poison drinkers. After the Lord Jesus has spoken to them, he was taken up into heaven, and he sat at the right hand of God, and the disciples went out and preached everywhere, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, these are known forgeries. I mean, this whole section here is a forgery. It's fake. And this is the basis for the Pentecostal religion. It's just ridiculous. It's so sad to see these people basing their lives and risking their lives on something that is known to be false. I mean, openly false. But anyway, that's all I had for you guys. I appreciate you coming. This is the end of it, so maybe I'll talk to you guys next week. Join my podcast channel. Subscribe to that. Check out my Patreon, my Discord, my social media, all that stuff. My sister 6-Bit runs the Facebook page. I run the Twitter. So anyway, I'm on Discord all the time talking to fans. So come join that too and ask me some questions and chit chat with me. All right, thanks for coming, guys.